Hello and welcome to the third video in this Doctor Who ratings analysis series. If you haven't seen the first two videos, feel free to go back and have a look at them on the playlist. In those videos we had a look at Series 14, Series 1, Season 40, the overnight figures, so the BBC One transmission figures, and the +7 ratings. Explain a little bit about those numbers, where they come from and what they mean. And in this episode, we're actually going to start making some comparisons. So we're going to compare it to the previous series of Doctor Who, which was Series 13 or Flux from 2021. And that was the sort of cut down, slimmed down version of Doctor Who due to the COVID pandemic. But it's a 6-episode series loosely titled Flux. So to start with, we'll just recap our Series 14, Series 1, Season 40, our 2024 series of Doctor Who. We kicked off with Space Babies and an overnight BBC One transmission figure of 2.55 million, dropping down to 2.42 million for The Devil's Cord, and dropping down even further for 2.04 million for Boom. 73 yards was our peak overnight, so 2.62 million, dropping back down again to 2.12 million. Rogue, fairly consistent with the week before at 2.11 million. Then our low for an overnight figure of 2.02 million, before perking up again for 2.25 million. This led to an average of 2.27 million on our overnight BBC One transmission. Our +7, so Space Babies over the course of 7 days achieved 4.01 million. The Devil's Cord slightly lower at 3.91 million. Boom 3.58 million. 73 yards, our peak of 4.06 million. Dot and Bubble dropping back down again, 3.38. Rogue 3.52 and Legend of Ruby Sunday 3.50. And then our final 7-day figure of 3.69 million for Empire of Death, giving us an average of 3.71 million viewers over the course of 7 days from BBC One transmission and pre-transmission availability on the iPlayer. So, how do these figures compare to Series 13, our Flux series? So, the Halloween Apocalypse kicked off the series with an overnight figure of 4.43 million. So, remember, these are the number of viewers that are tuning in to watch the programme on live transmission on BBC One. We had a little drop to War of the Sontarans, dropping below 4 million to 3.96 million. Dropping further for Once Upon Time, 3.76 million. Dropping even further for Village of the Angels, 3.45 million. Peaking back up again, 3.82 million for Survivors of the Flux. And then The Vanquishers, the series finale, 3.58 million. That gave us an average of 3.83 million viewers tuning in on original BBC One transmission. Over 7 days, our +7 rating. The Halloween Apocalypse reached 5.81 million. War of the Sontarans, 5.13. Once Upon Time, 4.7 million. Dropping down again, 4.57 million. So consistent dropping of the ratings before picking back up for Survivors of the Flux at 4.87 million. And then 4.68 million viewers over the course of 7 days for The Vanquishers, to give us an average of 4.96 million viewers. Now, this line graph shows our overnight ratings in blue, and then our orange ratings for 7 days in above. So we've got from left to right Flux, all the way through to Empire of Death, and we can see that overall our orange line and our blue line are slightly higher for Series 13 than they are for Series 14. As a result, we see this chart our lowest +7 ratings since 2005. So since 2005, when we started having +7 ratings, these are the lowest figures posted for Doctor Who over 7 days, with 8 of the bottom 9 being from Series 14, and Flux only has 4 out of the 6 episodes in the bottom 20. In fact, none of them are in the bottom 10. They're all taken up by Series 14 episodes plus Eve of the Daleks and Legend of the Sea Devils. So another element we can look at is our plus 7% share. So a 7-day rating, the percentage share of viewership over 7 days. So for Space Babies in Series 14, it was 32.4%. Again, dropping down 28.5 and dropping further to 27.6. Picking back up again for 73 yards, again following the trend of viewership. So our overnights and plus 7s, 73 yards, bringing back up to 30.2%. Dot and Bubble, 27.2. Rogue dropping further down, 26.1. And then the Legend of Ruby Sunday, a particularly low 21.6%. With Empire of Death not available, that gives us an average of 27.7%. So our plus 7-day rating percentage share averages out for Series 14 at 27.7%. Now another element we can consider for Series 14 is our plus 7 chart position. So 4 screen means television, tablets, phones, laptops, those 4 screens that you can watch and access the BBC iPlayer. So it takes into consideration not just television but other products you might be able to watch Doctor Who on. So the chart position reflective of all those who are watching Doctor Who across different platforms and services. So Space Babies charted at 10th, Devil's Claws slightly lower at 12th. Remember those were the same week. Boom dropped down to 18th. 73 yards peaked back up at 12th. Dot and Bubble at 24th. Rogue 14th. Legend of Ruby Sunday 19th, and Empire of Death at 18th position on the chart. So largely within the teens, giving us an average of 16th position overall. So how do those compare with Series 13 and Flux? Well, our plus 7% share for the Halloween Apocalypse was 31.5%. The War of the Sontarans 27.6%. Once Upon Time 26%. Village of the Angels 24.7%, Survivors of the Flux 26.6%, and the Vanquishers 24.3%. So our percentage share for 7-day rating lowest was actually for the series finale, and overall that gave us an average of 26.8%. And again, chart position, so our plus 7 full screen chart. Halloween Apocalypse was 8th. 13th for War of the Sontarans, 20th for Once Upon Time, Village of the Angels at 19th, 22nd for Survivors of the Flux, and the same for the Vanquishers, which gave us an average of 17th overall. So just to compare our 4-screen chart positions, general trend, initial interest in opening of a new series, generally posts are a higher position in the chart, and then there's a drop down as audiences decide that the program in the series is not for them. So you see that gradual drop down for Series 13 and Flux from 8th down to 22nd, and with Series 14 10th with a low of 24th in the middle, but it does peak back up again for Empire of Death, the series finale, back to 18th. So redresses the balance somewhat. And similarly, our plus 7 share. So for Series 13 and Flux, 31.5%, general trend downwards to our low 24.3%. And similarly, Space Babies at 32.4% down to 21.6%. So for Series 14, the peak is higher, but the low is also lower. So having a look at these averages, so comparing the two, overnight ratings, Series 13 was better than Series 14. Our plus 7-day rating, again, Series 13 was better than Series 14. But interestingly, our plus 7-day rating share was better for Series 14 than it was for Series 13, and our average chart position was better for Series 14 than it was for Series 13. So really demonstrates that in some metrics, basic numbers, Series 14 was outperformed by Series 13, but in other elements such as chart position, which is reflective of a number of factors, what else is on television at the time across that week, and percentage rating share, Doctor Who Series 14 actually outperformed the previous broadcast series, Series 13 and Flux. Thank you for watching. I hope that was of interest and provides some context and some comparisons between those two series. Tune in for the next video where I'll talk a bit more about our +7 day rating chart and look specifically at what competition Doctor Who had during Series 14 and what broadcast episodes of various programs may have affected Doctor Who's chart position. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, give it a share, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.